Right now on Denver 7 News at 6, Queen Elizabeth is headed to her final resting place. Members of the royal family, world leaders, and ordinary citizens coming together to pay tribute to the monarch.
Let us commend to the mercy of God, our Maker and Redeemer, the soul of Elizabeth, our late Queen.
We'll take you to London as her family prepares to mourn.
Back here at home, Aurora lawmakers want to keep sedatives out of the hands of first responders years after Elijah McClain's death.
I just don't understand why we would take the risk of introducing an additional sedative while those charges are still pending.
We're breaking down the resolution up for discussion tonight.
With a home crowd, the Broncos notched their first win.
All I really care about is the cheers at the end because we won.
But head coach Nathaniel Hackett is once again in the spotlight for the choices he made on the sidelines. Yeah, there were cheers at the end, but it was not pretty. Yeah, there were some boos and a lot of, what were they thinking moments.
Totally.
But at least they came away with the win. Good Monday morning to you. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Micah Smith. Jason Luber, you're here with us. I know we have a few problem spots on the road.
Well, up in Loveland, there's a problem just the south side of Loveland, and then just getting busier out there right now.
Yeah, typical for Monday, though. And Katie, you're in for Lisa. You're going to tell us about a fall feeling headed our way later this week.
Yeah, we still get to enjoy some more summer-like temperatures for today and tomorrow, with daytime highs soaring to around 90 degrees here over the Denver area. This morning, it is dark and clear and dry here across much of the state, but a little more cloud coverage and some areas of fog over the far eastern plains that'll gradually clear out in the next couple of hours. Temperatures starting off in the low 50s, so nice and cool this morning. Lakewood, you're at 52 degrees. We're seeing high 50s up near Golden and Broomfield, and chilly into Granby at only 35 right now. So if you're getting ready to head out the door shortly, we'll still hover in the upper 50s through about 7 o'clock. Sun will be shining. 9 will get to the upper 60s. By lunchtime, in the low 80s, and daytime highs, upper 80s to low 90s, nearly 10 degrees above average across much of the state for today. Low 90s over the eastern plains, 70s into many of our mountain towns. Here's a look at our front range futurecast for today. Some gustier winds at times over higher terrain. Otherwise, it's going to feel quite pleasant. By about 1 o'clock, we'll be in the 80s. A little more cloud coverage later on this afternoon. And then one more warm day ahead, Jason, and then we have some big changes and more rain rolling in.
And right now you can see a gorgeous sunrise and start here to the day from just a moment ago. Air Tracker 7 flying right over I-25 and Highway 36. That's Highway 270 right there. This is I-76. The headlights that you see going past 270 and eventually to I-25, southbound I-25 heading that way. So a gorgeous start here to the morning. Take a look at the one problem. It's on the south side of Loveland, between basically Berthoud and Loveland and Campion. It's at 42nd and 287, so that's going to slow you down just slightly as the rescue squad is out there helping the people that were hurt in a rollover crash. You start to see a little bit more of that traffic here. Typical stuff. Not seeing any other big problems for your morning drive just yet, and it's just starting to get off to a pretty good start, which is really helping us out on this morning drive.
Right now, the world is pausing to remember Queen Elizabeth II.
Yeah. We want to take you live to London this morning, where right now there is a military procession to Wellington Arch, the original entrance to Buckingham Palace. The Queen's casket will be followed on foot by members of the royal family, where it will be loaded into a hearse, and the royal family will then go to Windsor Castle. This all leads up to a private ceremony where the family will finally be able to mourn the mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother they know, as she's laid to rest next to her late husband, Prince Philip. So we take a closer look at the coffin. It is covered with flowers from various royal gardens. A handwritten note is also visible. It read, "In loving and devoted memory, Charles III." Of course, that is her son, King Charles.
Aurora lawmakers will talk about the future of sedatives in the hands of first responders tonight. A city councilman is introducing a resolution to keep paramedics from using a drug to replace ketamine. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta joins us live with more on the proposal. And Veronica, lawmakers have been talking about this since Elijah McClain's death in 2019 after he was shot with a sedative.
They have, and Aurora Councilmember Curtis Gardner says there are no place for sedatives in the hands of Aurora paramedics. That's exactly why he's proposing and saying that there should be the sedative ban during a study session that's happening today. So what exactly the council member is saying is that he's going to be introducing a ban on sedatives for 3 years. So this is beyond what's already being used as of December 31st of last year. So this means that if this resolution is passed, Aurora City Manager would have to have Aurora Fire Rescue refrain from adding any new sedatives to its emergency medical services protocols for that 3-year period. This does come after the medical director who oversees AFR's program said just last month he'd be introducing a different sedative that's called droperidol to paramedics' kits. That's a fast-acting one that works as a tranquilizer. It'd be used in situations when ketamine was used before it was banned. Gardner told Denver 7 he has multiple concerns about sedatives in Aurora. One of those stemmed from the death of Elijah McClain.
I think first, concerns about civil liberties, about injecting a sedative into somebody without their permission. But I think the bigger issue I have is we have firefighters currently indicted for murder charges for administering a sedative, ketamine, that was previously in our medical protocols. And I just don't understand why we would take the risk of introducing an additional sedative while those charges are still pending.
So if a majority of council goes ahead and approves this ban, then it would go into effect immediately. We'll keep you updated on what happens. In Aurora, I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
So many concerns surrounding this issue. Thank you, Veronica. Weld County deputies are looking for a man who hit and killed a motorcyclist and drove away. Deputies say the crash happened around 5:30 last night near AA Street and 37th Avenue, just north of Greeley. They say the suspect was driving a white van. He's described as a slightly heavy-set man in his 40s. He was last seen wearing a dark blue shirt, blue jeans, and white tennis shoes as he ran into a nearby cornfield. Anyone with information is asked to call 911 immediately.
A heartbreaking loss for an Arvada family this morning. A child has died riding an electric scooter. Investigators say they crashed with a vehicle Saturday night on Candelas Parkway near the Indiana Street intersection. That driver did stay at the scene. Police have not identified the child, and right now no charges have been filed. Also, a sad update to a story we brought you last week. A grandmother attacked by 2 pit bulls in Golden has died. Police say the dogs belong to the family. The 89-year-old woman and her 12-year-old grandson were both attacked Wednesday in their own backyard. The boy is in stable condition. Investigators say one dog was euthanized and the other is at a local animal shelter.
The Boulder County Coroner's Office says it's still working to identify the 3 people who died in a mid-air plane crash Saturday morning. The crash happened right behind Sean Tuff's Longmont home. And while he's used to hearing and seeing planes fly by often, seeing 2 planes crash into each other Saturday morning was scary, to say the least.
Obviously one landing in your yard's a little shocking though. It didn't look like it was falling or tumbling. It looked like it was in just a free fall. It was a little bit of corkscrew, but it looked like it was okay to fly. There was no wings missing or anything like that. Yeah, it just went straight in the earth.
Yesterday, crews carefully picked up the pieces of what was left of one of those planes. The area is still closed off by police tape. The NTSB is still investigating what caused the collision. All right, it's time to take a live look now at Empower Field at Mile High. It is all quiet there this morning, but yesterday, Broncos country packed the stands for Russell Wilson's first home game.
Oh yeah, came out to some big cheers to start the game, and then they heard some boos for questionable play and a lot of penalties. Nonetheless, it was his first win as a Bronco, the first for Nathaniel Hackett as a head coach, but the team has a lot of work to do. Here's Denver 7 Broncos insider Troy Rank.
The Broncos need not apologize for their first win of the season, but man, this was more graffiti than Da Vinci. No Broncos team has ever been penalized as many as 25 times in back-to-back games. They have done that. No team since 2010 has reached the red zone 6 times in its first 2 games and not scored a touchdown. The Broncos own that distinction. They are starting to look for the positives while knowing they must improve greatly.
I'm excited because we were able to win a tough game like today, and you need those kind of games because down the road, when it's a playoff game or when it's late in the season and everything else, and you need that game, you have something to go back to.
We got to be better with our time management, clock management. I know we need to get out of the huddle quicker as an O-line and get to the ball. I could go over a lot more things, but I think that there's good and bad to take away, but it's really hard to win in this league, so I'm super amped up about the win.
The defense deserves credit. Even without Justin Simmons, the secondary played well, and the pressure from Bradley Chubb, Randy Gregory, and Draymond Jones these first 2 weeks has been impressive. But Coach Nathaniel Hackett, he needs to look in the mirror, find self-awareness, because he has got to clean up the game day operation and the play calling if this team is going to be a contender this season. Reporting from the stadium, Troy Rank, Denver 7.
Also today, we hope to get 2 updates on some key players, Jerry Jeudy and Patrick Surtain. Jeudy injured his ribs hitting the turf after catching a pass, and Surtain came to the bench midway through the second quarter favoring his left shoulder, so he was ruled out at halftime and will undergo an MRI today. Katie.
Hey Brian, good morning everyone. It is 6:10 and temperatures are currently in the high 50s under a mostly clear sky. Sunrise officially will be at 6:44 and it's going to be mostly sunny through the day. Our temperatures climbing to the 70s by about 10 by noon at 83 degrees downtown. It's going to be a warm start to the week here across the state, but some cooler, wetter weather arrives midweek.
First highway crash is over on the east side of town along westbound lanes of I-70 right here at Central Park. You can see where the exit to Central Park is, and you see it's split between the sides there with that right lane blocked with police and fire. We're seeing a little bit of a delay coming in from Havana. Maybe a couple extra minutes, not worth an alternate route just yet. Stay a little to the left and get by it just a little bit faster.
And we're following a disaster unfolding in Puerto Rico right now. The danger Hurricane Fiona will bring today after knocking out all power to the island.
And move over Google. Gen Zers are turning to one particular social media app to get their information.
And the Denver International Airport has set a world record for something real cute that also actually could make traveling a little easier for us. We'll have more on that.